Imagine if there were a set of ancient texts full of mysticism and hidden knowledge that shaped Western thought throughout the centuries. Well, that set exists, and we are about to dive into the deep waters of the Corpus Hermeticum, a philosophical collection that is at the heart of Hermeticism and has fascinated truth seekers since ancient times. Let's start with Poimandres, the Shepherd of Men. A text that reveals a vision of the cosmos where a divine entity named Poimandres appears to the thinker and guides them through a profound spiritual journey. It is an exploration of the nature of the universe, the divine essence, and the journey of the human soul, dotted with teachings on the origins of being and the attainment of gnosis, transcendental knowledge. Moving on to the Asclepius, we are introduced to a dialogue where topics such as divinity, idol worship, and the human capacity to attain a divine state are discussed. Never forget that this is an era where gods walk among men and ideas walk among the gods. The sacred sermon further expands our understanding of the Hermetic universe, where all beings are seen as manifestations of a single, eternal divine source. All is one, and this one is the everything. In the cup or monad, we plunge into the essence of transcendent unity, the monad, which is the primordial source of all life, from which everything emanates and to which everything returns. Though unmanifest God is most manifest, challenges us to understand the paradoxical nature of God, who, even though invisible, is perceived through all creation in countless ways. In God alone is good, and elsewhere nowhere, presents the idea that true goodness can only be found in God, and that outside of Him, in matter, we do not find real goodness, only imperfect copies. The greatest ill among men is ignorance of God is a powerful statement that the greatest plight afflicting humanity is the lack of knowledge about the divine nature, and ignorance that leads to destruction and disorder. No one of existing things doth perish teaches us about the impermanence and constant transformation of things. What we call death and destruction is nothing more than a change of state. On Thought and Sense explores how our thoughts and sensations form the foundation of our understanding of the world. They are the tools we use to interpret and interact with the reality around us. The key presents us with an approach to unlocking the mysteries of the universe, emphasizing that true knowledge is a gateway to deeper spiritual experiences. Mind unto Hermes deals with the revelation in which intellect itself is gifted with a divine vision, a connection to the universal that transcends logic and reason. About the Common Mind brings forth the idea that a collective mind, shared by all beings, is fundamental to the harmony of the whole. Crossing over to the Secret Sermon on the Mountain, we are led into an esoteric encounter where celestial secrets are revealed in a sacred discourse away from the public eye. Finally, the Perfect Sermon, or the Asclepius, is a gem that completes our journey by offering a synthesis of all Hermetic wisdom, a speech aimed at complete spiritual understanding and unification with the divine. This work is a rich spiritual journey, where each text transcends mere lessons, becoming a map for the soul seeking enlightenment in a world where physical reality and spiritual truth seek to harmonize through understanding. In the Corpus Hermeticum, words are keys, paragraphs are doors, and when opened, they reveal the eternity that lives within each of us. Let's unravel these mysteries together in the upcoming chapters. Let's dive into the essence of the foundational documents of Hermeticism, exploring the Corpus Hermeticum and the Perfect Sermon, or the Asclepius. These works, compiled before the end of the 3rd century, emerged in Egypt, attributed to the mythical figure of Hermes Trismegistus. Imagine this figure as a superhero of ancient knowledge, a mix of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian Thoth. The religious and philosophical ferment of the time that gave birth to the Corpus Hermeticum was the same that gave rise to Neoplatonism and Christianity, all forged in the cauldron of Platonic thought, colliding with ancient Hellenistic traditions. Each of these lines of thought connected and distanced themselves in their responses to the big questions of their time, weaving complex carpets of interconnected yet distinct ideas. Now, focus on the trajectory of the Corpus Hermeticum. This text traversed centuries and was rediscovered during the Renaissance thanks to Lorenzo de' Medici's agents, who found a copy that had been preserved since Byzantine times. Marsilio Ficino, at the forefront of the Florentine Academy, was tasked with translating these treasures into Latin, and his printed work achieved resounding success in the 15th century with numerous reprints. The treatises are organized into distinct groups. The first is Poimandres, revelations given to Hermes by an expression of the universal mind. Next are the general sermons, which are dialogues and conferences on Hermetic philosophy, followed by the key, a summary of these sermons. After that, we find other treatises that address the more mystical aspects of Hermeticism. To cap it all off, the definitions of Asclepius for King Ammon may be fragments of larger works. The perfect sermon traveled a different route, translated into Latin in antiquity and supposedly linked to Lucius Apuleius, who gave us evidence of the cult of Isis. St. Augustine mentions the translation in The City of God, and it remained in Europe until the Renaissance. The sermon is more extensive than any other surviving Hermetic work and contains themes that overlap with the Corpus Hermeticum, while addressing the magical creation of gods and a dark prophecy about the decline of Hermetic wisdom and the end of the world. The relevance of the Corpus Hermeticum in medieval Europe was explosive, challenging established philosophical systems and serving as a tool for intellectual and religious reforms. It even raised magic to a more socially acceptable status in the Christian West. The quest for legitimacy of Hermetic magic failed, but its language strongly influenced post-medieval magic in the West. Now, focusing on the translation we have today, we credit G.R.S. Mead, who, although overshadowed by theosophy, did an exemplary job translating these ancient and often enigmatic texts into English. Despite some challenging stylistic choices, Mead managed to capture the essence of the writings, although more modern and possibly clearer versions exist today. With this synthesis, we see how the Corpus Hermeticum and the Perfect Sermon are not just relics of the past, but keys to unraveling the mysteries of Hermetic philosophy and the magical path in the West. By staying sharp with accessible and engaging language, we continue to unravel the texts chapter by chapter, following the metamorphosis of ancient thought resonating in modern times. And we dive deeper into this spectacular and mystical vision with Poimandres, the Shepherd of Men, a text that guides us through esoteric understanding of creation and the intricate nature of humanity. Here, it is not the fall from grace through disobedience that grabs our attention, but the descent of the original man through the planetary realms until reaching the natural world, driven by love and blessed by God. In the passage I just absorbed, a magnificent being, Poimandres, who reveals himself as the shepherd and mind of the Supreme, addresses the narrator, who is eager for knowledge. They want to unravel the deepest mysteries of the universe, understand its nature, and know God. Poimandres promises to instruct them, and immediately shows them a vision of infinite light that dramatically transforms, where darkness arises and becomes a tumultuous moist nature, generating a cacophony of elemental sounds and a voice like a fire. In this cosmic kaleidoscope, the sacred word, logos, descends upon the chaotic nature, giving rise to pure fire and other elements. The vision continues, revealing a harmony enveloped in immense power, culminating in the understanding of the initiated narrator thanks to Poimandres' guidance. We then move through the divine explanation that the resplendent light is nothing other than Poimandres himself, the God of mind, and that the word or logos is considered the Son of God. The message is clear. What we see and hear within us is the Word of God, and together with the mind, the Father God, they form the vital essence of existence. With this revelation, the shepherd challenges the narrator with an intense gaze, and lifting their head, unfolds before them the cosmos in its infinite splendor, surrounded by fire and controlled by a power that restores order. And so the shepherd explains that the narrator has witnessed the divine archetypal form, without beginning or end, an entity that, through God's will, allowed nature to contemplate the beauty of the cosmos and emulate it through its own elements and soul births. The text progresses to describe how 7 rulers, representing the 7 planets, as a reflection of harmony and the ambivalent source of impulses for evil in humanity, arose from the intervention of another god of mind, and how the formative mind organizes and maintains the perceived cosmos. Following the cosmogony, we encounter the origin of man. a divine creation that shares an essence with the God of life and light and is filled with all the formations of this Father God. Man, in awe of their own image and likeness to the Creator, desires to create as well and is allowed to go to the formative sphere. They merge with the elements and beings of nature, and in this act of love, nature and man intertwine. It is in this interconnection that we understand the duality of man. Mortal in their body, but immortal in their spiritual essence. Despite their sovereignty over the world and inherent immortality, they find themselves bound by the fate and limitations of the material body. Thus, we progress to the understanding that men with understanding who possess the logos or reason are capable of knowing themselves and thus achieving a life that transcends all. On the contrary, those who focus solely on love for the material body are lost in darkness and experience things of death. And then comes the warning. Those who understand their divine nature and the illusion of the mortal body prepare for a passage to another state, a spiritual rebirth where energies separate from their senses and passions, and the mind, as a guardian, protects the soul from lower influences, leaving evil and base and malign energies to be dealt with by demons. At the end of this passage, we understand that the path to ascent goes beyond the winding paths of matter and passions, a journey of self-knowledge, light, and life. The narrative here invites us to recognize that divine spark within us, and in doing so, share eternal life with Poimandres, the shepherd of men, and the illuminated mind of the Supreme. Welcome back, my fellow seekers of knowledge. Today we embark on a journey into the depths of the Corpus Hermeticum, a book that stretches the boundaries of human existence and delves into the realms of spiritual ascension. Get ready, because this book will take us on a mind-bending adventure like no other. In the first segment of our exploration, we witness the transformative path that humankind must tread in order to reach celestial heights. By surrendering worldly desires and embracing the higher realms, we shed our materialistic energy and emerge purified, ready to inhabit the eighth nature, the divine nature itself. But hold on tight, because the journey doesn't stop there. In this cosmic dance, we ascend to a new stage of existence, where we join in praise to the Father alongside the elevated beings who reside there. Together we exalt God in a language that mortals cannot comprehend, harmoniously advancing towards the divine. This is the magnificent destiny of those who have acquired gnosis, the ultimate union with God. And now, my curious comrades, it's time for action. With this newfound knowledge, we are called to guide others and lead them towards the divine salvation. We are bestowed with the gift of knowledge, and it is our duty to share it with the deserving, to become the vessel through which humanity can be saved. As the events unfold, we encounter the enigmatic figure known as the Shepherd of Men, who merges with the celestial powers. I, blessed with the shepherd's wisdom, become consumed by the power and the profound understanding of the nature of the universe. Driven by this gift, I embark on a mission to spread the value of devoted service and knowledge to the people. But not everyone is receptive to my message. Some mock and choose the path of death, but others plead for guidance and knowledge. I lift them up and lead a new congregation of souls towards the celestial abode, sowing the seeds of wisdom and offering the nectar of everlasting water. As the sun sets, we conclude our day offering thanks to the divine, each of us carrying the promise of a new awakening within us. Enveloped by the generosity of the Shepherd of Men, overflowing with gratitude, and having achieved all my hopes and dreams, I surrender to divine thanksgiving. As my body rests, my soul awakens, and with closed eyes, I witness true visions. In the silence, promises resonate, and the words I speak have the power to create virtuous realities. This epiphany has been granted to me by the divine mind, the guide of all things, inspiring my arrival at the field of truth. With all my strength and soul, I express gratitude to the Heavenly Father. In a fervent prayer, I sing praises to the Almighty, the Universal Father, whose will is performed through His powers. I beseech never to be devoid of gnosis, the essence of our common being, and I ask to be filled with divine power. With this grace, I aspire to enlighten those who dwell in ignorance, to become a guiding light for my brothers and children of God. And so, my fellow truth-seekers, I conclude with a fervent testimony of my faith, walking the path towards life and light, blessing the Father and aspiring to be holy, just as He is holy, invested with His absolute authority. Whoa, what an incredible journey we've just embarked upon. A conversation that unfolded millennia ago between Hermes and Asclepius, contemplating the mysteries that still captivate us today. It's as if we're peering into the secrets of the cosmos and asking ourselves, what's it all about? Hermes starts by questioning Asclepius about movement in the universe. They ponder how anything can move without something bigger enabling it. They realize that the cosmos is a body in motion, but there must be something even grander that allows it to move freely, something immaterial and immense. This dialogue evolves into a discussion about the nature of space. Hermes suggests that space, being incorporeal, could be divine or even God. However, this divine something is not generated, but ingenerate, implying that its substance transcends the material world. And then they dive into the concept of God. God is not something for himself, but for us. God is the source of all creation, beyond our full comprehension. God gives form to thought, the cause behind the existence of mind, spirit, and light. They also observe that celestial movement defies our ordinary understanding. Celestial bodies appear to move against the motion of other bodies, creating stability and equilibrium. This contrast can even be seen on Earth, where resistance, like swimming against a current, promotes stability. They conclude that all movement is caused by stability. In the universe, the movement of material bodies like the cosmos is not caused by external factors, but by internal forces like the soul or spirit, which, though immaterial, can generate motion. But things get even more intriguing when they discuss the concept of emptiness. Hermes challenges Asclepius, suggesting that even the spaces we consider empty are filled with air, and consequently the four elements, making emptiness full and fullness empty of air. They then explore the realms of the mind and reason, which are described as incorporeal and self-sufficient, containing and sustaining all things. The conversation culminates in the discussion of God not as mind, spirit, or light, but the cause of all these things, the guide and father of all. Finally, Hermes warns Asclepius that leaving life without leaving a trace behind is seen as a grave impiety, resulting in punishment after death. They conclude by emphasizing that true gnosis, the deep knowledge they were discussing, lies in understanding the nature of all things. Wow, what an intellectual roller coaster. We've barely scratched the surface of the Corpus Hermeticum, and already we're being pulled into a cosmic whirlwind. Keep up with this mosaic of ideas as we continue our journey through the vast realm of Hermetic wisdom. Imagine a universe in constant renewal, where cycles repeat themselves and creation resonates through a divine orchestra. We're delving into the mystic depths of the sacred sermon, a crucial part of the Corpus Hermeticum that unveils the essence and nature of the world. As we start our journey, let us glorify the divine, God, the greater mind, the substantial nature, and the wise matter that reveals all things. It is this entity that gives birth, sustains, and renews everything. With its power, it transformed the dark and boundless abyss, water, and intelligent breath into an initial chaos. From this chaos emerged the sacred light, which in turn gave birth to the elements within a dry space. Diving further into this cosmic web, we witness the order of the universe, light objects soaring high, while heavy ones settle in the watery domain, all bounded by fire and sustained in space by the divine breath. The celestial vault then appears, consisting of 7 concentric circles, inhabited by gods who govern celestial spheres and the secrets of nature. Each god, ruling their orbit, unfolded the forms of life, 4-legged, crawling, aquatic, and winged creatures, all endowed with the seeds of rebirth. And among these creatures, humankind is chosen to witness and comprehend the divine wonders and the power of nature, to master the earth beneath the heavens and unlock its blessings. We are called to multiply and experience the rotation of celestial gods, observing the phenomena of the firmament and the works of creation. Thus, the cycle of life and human wisdom is defined, dictated by destiny and the dance of astral gods. In this cycle, human beings are born, grow in wisdom and knowledge, and eventually fade away, all according to the destiny traced by the cyclic gods. The sermon reminds us that, although every incarnated being and material manifestation is finite and subject to decay, renewal is inevitable. It is guaranteed by the renewing will of the gods and the eternal turning of nature's gears. For divinity itself is the perennial engine of cosmic innovation, and nature, inseparable from that divinity, is an integral part of this ongoing creation. There, in the sustaining divinity, nature and gods, energy and matter, dance together in an eternal ballet, weaving and reweaving the cosmic tapestries, a sublime spectacle of life, death, and ultimately, regeneration, where every end is also a new beginning. According to the Corpus Hermeticum, this is the pulse of the universe, a heartbeat that echoes through endless cycles, a divine breath that caresses the vastness of existence's creative power. Wow, my friends, we've just taken the plunge into the chalice of knowledge and the monad, the foundation of all Hermetic thought. This is where the physical and the spiritual collide, where choices define our being, and ultimately, where gnosis, divine knowledge, awaits those willing to abandon the body and embrace the spirit. At the beginning of this chapter, Hermes reminds us that the universe was not created by hands, but by logos, the divine reason. This idea elevates the creator beyond physical limits, beyond basic human understanding, as an omnipresent and singular entity, the source and author of all things. Hermes insists that the divine body is immeasurable, invisible, and untouchable, transcending the elemental classicism of fire, water, air, and earth from which everything else derives. Human beings are then introduced as miniature cosmos, essentially divine beings temporarily bound in mortal existence. With the logos and the mind, or nous, we are invited to contemplate God's works, aspiring to know the author of these marvels, positioning ourselves above all other forms of life. Tat, Hermes' interlocutor, questions why mind isn't distributed equally among humanity. Hermes explains that mind is more than a gift. It is a prize available to those who choose to seek it. This is where the metaphor of the chalice comes into play, a vessel filled with mind, sent to earth with an announcer proclaiming a baptism of mind for those who have faith and seek the divine purpose of their existence. Those who understand and immerse themselves in mind achieve perfection. On the other hand, those without mind, even though they possess the ability of reason, live without comprehending the purpose of their existence, indulging in bodily pleasures and desires, without recognizing the true value of divine things. Hermes then portrays the rise of those who embrace this divine mind. Freed from mortal restraints, they consider earthly life as misfortune and transcend all materialism, longing for unity with the all. Expressing the desire to be baptized in mind, Tot receives Hermes' instruction that he must hate his body to love himself, and thus receive mind and gnosis. Wow, my friends, we've just scratched the surface of the Corpus Hermeticum, and already we're immersed in a cosmic whirlwind of ideas and revelations. This book will challenge your understanding of the universe and leave you mesmerized by the depths of Hermetic wisdom. Stay tuned as we continue our journey through the mysteries of Corpus Hermeticum. Welcome back to my channel, fellow book lovers. Today we're diving into segment 3 of the enigmatic book, Corpus Hermeticum. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered about the choices we make in life, the material versus the divine? In this segment, Hermes sheds light on this intriguing dilemma. According to Hermes, we can't have both. It's like trying to mix oil and water. They just don't blend well. Everything in existence is either physical or spiritual. Choosing the path of the mind elevates us to divinity, while pursuing worldly desires only disturbs the divine harmony. In his poetic elegance, Hermes concludes by emphasizing that while knowledge and divinity are eternal and limitless, evil is a human choice that leads us astray from the path of perfection. He encourages us to follow the path of gnosis, which is the true starting point for us. Let go of the deceptive appearances that seduce us and seek the ancient path, the source of indescribable good and form. Hermes reminds us of the monad, the primal unity that is present in everything yet contained by nothing. It is the source and cause of all things, existing without a cause for its own existence. As we conclude this section, we are reminded that the monad is the guide for those who can open the eyes of their soul, drawing us to the divinity just like a magnet attracts iron. In the depths of the invisible, there is a brilliant truth, a flame that burns unseen. This is the divine essence that governs everything, eternal and unfathomable. In the preceding passage, we learned that this truth remains hidden from physical eyes but is accessible to the eye of the mind, to our thoughts. Now let's plunge together into the continuation of this esoteric mystery. We start by reflecting on the manifestation of God. Though unrevealed, He is everywhere, omnipresent in creation. The unmanifest is the eternal state of the divine. Desiring it to be manifest would reduce it to a state of becoming, of creation and change, something incompatible with the eternal nature of divinity. A paradoxical truth reveals itself. While God doesn't become manifest, it is through His will alone that all things become visible. He is the silent architect behind all existence, transcending common understanding. To truly see God, we must expand our inner horizons, cultivating the ability to perceive the immaterial through our own thoughts. Moving forward, let's explore a more practical and earthly understanding of perceiving God through the wonders of nature, the sun, the moon, and the stars in their ordered dance. Who maintains such celestial harmony? In the ceaseless course of the Great Bear, in the setting of the ocean's boundaries, and in the foundation of the earth, we recognize a Creator, a Lord of all these measures, numbers, and orders. If we could rise above and observe the world from an intermediate perspective, we would witness the divine order in action, the manifest and the unmanifest coexisting, the ever-changing shaped by the untouched. Now, let's imagine the mystery of life germinating in the womb, a tapestry of existence being woven in silence. Who sculpts these forms? Who shapes these human figures? Under the same sky that covers the oceans and mountains, an invisible force creates, molds, and gives shape to every vital detail of the human being, earning the right to be called the divine artisan. We reflect on the folly of denying the existence of a creator when we readily recognize the hand of an artist in sculptures and paintings. By calling God our Father, we acknowledge that He is much greater than any concept, name, or form we may attempt to attribute to Him. Continuing our dialogue with Tat, we affirm that singing the praises of the Father transcends words and mortal understanding. How can we limit our gratitude or worship to something so vast, omnipotent, and indescribable? He is everything that exists, and even that which doesn't exist. He is the mind when thinking, the Father when creating, and the divine in action. As we conclude this section of contemplation and adoration, we rejoice in the truth that everything subtler, from the air to the soul, from the soul to the mind, and finally from the mind to the divine, is an ascent to the heart of God Himself. And so our journey through the Corpus Hermeticum continues, walking alongside this ancient wisdom, seeking to understand the hidden layers of existence and consciousness that encompass the all. Now, let's delve into the essence of being and goodness in this chapter of the Corpus Hermeticum. We are led to comprehend the intrinsic nature of good and its exclusive relationship with God. Here, good is not merely a moral concept, but something that permeates the purest essence of existence. Far from movement and change, good is eternally stable and unwavering, always complete and self-sufficient, essentially one with the source of all that exists, God. This passage presents the idea that while born creatures and the cosmos itself are filled with passions and movements, true good remains untouched by these instabilities. In the cosmos, good can be identified as that which promotes creation, but is limited by its changeable and productive characteristics. In humans, what is considered good is merely a diluted version, stained by evil, a distant echo of the supreme good that is God. Reflecting on human imperfections, the text challenges the values we often celebrate as good or beautiful. Our earthly understanding of good is often tainted by selfishness, desire, and ignorance. Even basic pleasures are seen as the ultimate good, when in reality they divert us from the true good. The tragic consequence of this value reversal is that we become attached to these shadows of good, striving to preserve and enhance them, when in reality they only serve to distance us from the pure and unchanging essence of the good, which can only be found in God. The final message of the text is both comforting and challenging. To conceive God, we must seek to understand and experience the beautiful and good, which surpass the brightness and purity of any physical manifestation. The path to this understanding lies in devotion and knowledge, and only through these practices can we transcend earthly confusion and catch a glimpse of the true good. And thus we conclude this section with a serene and powerful reflection. The true forms of beauty and good are inherent to God and can only be known through a direct and loving relationship with the divine, with ourselves, and with knowledge that transcends the mundane. It is an invitation to shift our focus and effort beyond superficial appearances toward the ineffable core of the supreme good. In this segment of the Corpus Hermeticum, we are confronted with a powerful call to spiritual sobriety, an exhortation to abandon ignorance and seek true knowledge, gnosis, which leads us to encounter divinity. The text begins with a vigorous reprimand. As people intoxicated by ignorance, we are questioned about our lack of perception and invited to awaken, to use the true eyes of the heart. This metaphor highlights a separation between an unconscious, almost beast-like state and the potentiality of a spiritual awakening that lies within all of us. However, only those who are capable should embark on this journey, a recognition that perhaps not everyone is ready for such a profound quest. Ignorance is described as a calamity that floods the earth, overwhelming the soul and keeping it trapped within the body, like a vessel unable to safely anchor in the port of salvation. We are therefore encouraged to swim against this devastating current and seek refuge in a harbor of salvation, where we can find guides to lead us to the gates of true knowledge. There, we are promised, lies a pure light, stripped of all darkness, and those who dwell within are sober, seeing with the eyes of the heart the one who desires to be perceived. This one, though inaccessible to our bodily senses, hearing, sight, and speech, can be known through the mind and heart. This leads us to an understanding that true divine perception comes from within, rather than through the senses. To achieve this clear vision, we are urged to discard our illusory garments, referred to in various ways as the cloak of ignorance. This cloak is attributed as the cause of various evils. It is the prison of corruption, the shield of darkness, the living death, and the tomb we carry. It also represents an internal thief that brings hatred through love for material objects and malice through displeasure. The passage concludes with a warning of how this ignorance hinders our perception of the true wonders of reality. It blocks and clogs our senses with repugnant desires, preventing us from hearing and seeing what we truly should. Through this powerful symbolism, we are urged to reject the sensory deception of the material world and seek true spirituality on a higher plane of existence. In the heart of the cosmos, there resides a profound and eternal truth, which Hermes imparts to his son. Nothing that truly exists ever perishes, despite human fears suggesting otherwise. What we often interpret as death and destruction, Hermes reframes as transformations, mere changes in states that never undo the essence that permeates all things. This essence is the soul, the immortal spark, which according to Hermes knows no death. Death, as we understand it, is just an illusion, a misunderstood shadow of understanding. The Master clarifies this eternity by alluding to the very structure of the universe, a second God, which by its divine nature is incapable of experiencing destruction. Since human beings are an intrinsic part of this cosmos, they too partake in this immortality, standing out among creatures due to their rationality. The eternal here is distinct from eternity. God the Father is eternal in himself, while the cosmos attains eternity through the mediation and will of the Father. Stars and planets governed by divine design stand out through the order that holds them together, contrasting with earthly matter, which is more chaotic and associated with the cycle of birth and death, or rather, unceasing renewal. Hermes argues that primordial matter was formless until the Father shaped it into bodies, infusing life into these material forms, ensuring that they wouldn't desire separation. Therefore, what we call death is merely a detachment from sensation, not a loss of the matter itself. Hermes then sheds light on human life, made in the image of the cosmos and endowed with mind according to the Father's will. It is connected not only to the celestial body but also the Divine Father. It has the capacity to sense the cosmos and conceive God. This leads to Tat, his son's questioning of the permanence of this life. Hermes instructs silence and contemplation to recognize what the divine truly is, the cosmos, and the nature of immortal and mortal lives. Welcome back, fellow bookworms, to another exciting episode of Book Chronicles. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the mystical and enigmatic world of the Corpus Hermeticum. In this fourth segment of our adventure, we'll be exploring the chapters titled On Thought and Sense, The Key, and Immortality and Punishment. In On Thought and Sense, we unravel the fascinating concept that thinking and feeling aren't as different as they seem. Our perception and thoughts are intertwined, a harmonious dance between the tangible and intangible. The mind and thought, like the divinity and God, are inseparable partners. We then venture into the mystic territory of the mind in dreams. Even in our dreams, where we seem to see and feel without our physical senses, the connection between thought and feeling remains unbroken. Our thoughts can only be expressed when the body and soul are in harmony, when our inner being aligns perfectly. But beware, my friends, for the mind is a vessel that can be influenced by both divine and corruptive forces. Evil thoughts can be whispered by lesser beings, known as daimons, leading to destructive actions. On the other side of the spectrum, the seeds of divinity are few but mighty, inspiring virtuous thoughts and actions. As we progress further, the chapter The Key delves into the intricate relationship between thought, sense, and the divine. The mind, in all its marvelous complexity, is a powerful tool guided by words. When our thoughts align with the divine, it can precede the truth, guiding us to a firm belief and resting in sublime faith. Finally, in Immortality and Punishment, we journey into a realm where the mortal body meets the immortal virtue of the soul. Here, we encounter the idea that the mind, once freed from its earthly confines, becomes an essence of fire, an essence incompatible with the limitations of the physical body. Only through deep contemplation of the divine can the soul ascend to godliness and break free from the cycle of suffering. But my friends, let us not forget the consequences of our actions. The wicked soul, consumed by its own nature, faces tormented existence, perpetuating violence and suffering. Yet for the virtuous soul, guided by the mind, awaits the light of divine knowledge and an eternal existence infused with understanding. And with that, we come to the end of our journey through these captivating chapters of the Corpus Hermeticum. The wisdom revealed here speaks to the intricate bond between humanity, the cosmos, and the divine. It challenges us to contemplate the nature of knowledge, existence, and the hidden realms beyond our mortal senses. So my fellow seekers of knowledge, let us embrace the wisdom of the Corpus Hermeticum and open our minds to the profound truths it holds. Remember, true understanding is accessible only to those with eyes to see and minds eager to comprehend. Until next time, happy reading. Imagine diving into the mysteries of the cosmos, unraveling the secrets of the universe, and exploring the nature of God. In the fifth segment of the book, Corpus Hermeticum, we embark on a soulful journey with Hermes, guided by the mind, as we uncover the transcendental reality revealed by the divine. We discover a hierarchy of existence, starting with God and descending through aeon, cosmos, time, and becoming. Each layer has its own essence and purpose, all interconnected by the will of God expressed through the mind and the soul. We learn that God is the source of all that is good, beautiful, wise, and blissful. Aeon provides immortality and permanence, while cosmos brings order, time brings change, and becoming represents life and death. As we contemplate the heavens and the earth, we see the reflection of God's divine essence. Aeon is the soul of God, and cosmos is the soul of Aeon. The celestial bodies, like the moon, drive the natural transformations, while the earth consolidates the cosmic beauty. At every level, everything is filled and animated by the soul, from the vastness of the skies to the microcosm of our planet. The text reminds us that the cosmos, despite its ever-changing nature, is sustained by the eternity of Aeon. Life in the universe is a tapestry of constant change and consistency fueled by God's energy. We realize that everything in the cosmos is not a mere convergence of coincidences, but the creation of a single creator. Death is merely the separation of components that were once unified by life. The representation of God is found in Aeon, and Aeon is reflected in cosmos. Just as the sun resembles the divine, humans also share a resemblance to the gods. Death and life are cyclic, mirroring the nature of all things. The text delves into the concept that God does not possess physical forms, but reveals ideas through the bodies in the cosmos, like an artist exposing abstract concepts in their art. we are compelled to recognize that everything resides within God in a non-physical way. God is not just a living and moving being, but an all-pervading energy that encompasses and permeates all things. In God, we find the unification of the mind, the soul, and life itself. The passage inspires us to contemplate the vision of a reality where God is not a distant artisan, but an active force shaping existence at every moment. We are invited to grow to unimaginable greatness, free ourselves from our physical limitations, embrace eternity, and know God. We must believe that nothing is impossible, see ourselves as immortal beings capable of knowing all things, and encompass within ourselves the senses of all creatures. However, there is a warning that we must not imprison our soul within our physical bodies or underestimate our capabilities. By loving our bodies and embracing goodness, we can truly know God. The mind and the soul hold the power to transcend destiny and connect directly with the divinity. Our souls possess unimaginable power and speed, enabling us to explore the cosmos and go beyond its boundaries. To truly know God, we are reminded that we must become like Him. God encompasses everything as thoughts, the entire cosmos within Himself. If we do not become godlike, we cannot truly know Him. The text encourages us to strive for greatness, to free ourselves from all bodily attachments, overcome time, and embrace eternity. In the end, we realize that everything is connected by a common essence, and it is the mind, the soul of God, that governs all. The mind has the power to free a human soul from predestination or leave it to its fate. Life in the cosmos is a continuous movement, change, and renewal. Everything is subject to alteration, dissolution, and rebirth. Death, in essence, is merely a perception. True life is the eternal motion. Reflecting on the nature of our existence and our ability to interact with the cosmos, we discover that humans possess an incredible capacity to connect with all elements through our senses. We are not confined to a single sphere like other creatures. We can contemplate the heavens and touch the divine. This passage from Corpus Hermeticum takes us on a rich and multifaceted journey through the mysteries of the mind and its intrinsic relationship with divinity, destiny, and the surrounding cosmos. It challenges us to explore the depths of our own divinity and understand the interconnectedness of all things. Welcome back, my book-loving audience. Today, we are diving deep into the heart of existence as we explore the sixth segment of the book, Corpus Hermeticum. This chapter takes us on an exhilarating journey where Hermes explains the omnipresence of God in all living beings, immortal things, and everything that changes. It challenges our perception of matter and illuminates the divine energy that flows through every particle of our being and the universe we inhabit. Our adventure with Hermes and Tat, the master and apprentice, reaches its climax as they engage in a profound conversation about the experience of reincarnation. Their dialogue takes us to the very essence of human existence and the awakening of the divine within ourselves. Tat, eager to comprehend the sermon of rebirth, seeks guidance on how to connect with the divine presence. As Hermes responds, he reveals that wisdom and silent understanding hold the key, with the will of God acting as the cultivator of our spiritual growth. Hermes shares his own transformative journey, emphasizing that this transcendental shift is indescribable by our earthly senses. He highlights that after experiencing this transformation, a new understanding of immortality blooms in the mind, indicating a rebirth guided by the spirit rather than the physical body. In the midst of Tat's confusion and excitement, Hermes unveils the author of reincarnation as the Son of God, one who moves away from the limitations of the mortal realm toward the radiant light of divinity. Tat reaches a transcendent understanding, all while Hermes warns him of the illusory nature of the ever-changing mortal form. It is at this point that the eternal truth is revealed to Tat as something immutable, undefinable, and beyond the grasp of conventional senses. As Tat grapples with the need to look within and let go of the raw torments of material existence, Hermes identifies 12 tormentors residing within humanity, representing vices and errors. These tormentors are expelled through divine intervention, forming the process of rebirth, where the divine logos or reason becomes evident. Through a moment of silent revelation, Tat is instructed to pursue purification and invoke the divine forces, freeing himself from ancient torments. As the gnosis or knowledge of God arrives, ignorance is expelled, along with the joy that repels sorrow. Hermes describes a litany of divine powers that replace Tat's mental torments one by one, culminating in the acquisition of truth and virtues. Finally, Hermes details how divine harmony is restored when the 12 tormentors are defeated by the 10 forces of good, symbolizing complete spiritual rebirth and intellectual attainment that transforms humans into gods. Tat is assured of his own divinity and purity. As we progress through this enlightening journey, we approach a celestial hymn. Tat, now purified, is instructed by Hermes to face the winds and offer praise to the Creator of all, the whole and the one, in mystical synchrony with nature. This hymn becomes a glorification of the forces within us, a song of cosmic synchronization. The dialogue concludes with Hermes urging secrecy regarding these transcendental teachings, as they are to be held in respectful silence, honoring the whole in God, who does not wish for such mysteries to be revealed to all. In this exchange between master and disciple, we discover a roadmap that guides us beyond the limitations of our physical bodies toward the fulfillment of our divine essence. It sheds light on the immortality of the soul and the promise of union with the divine. Prepare to be uplifted as we embark on a journey of spiritual elevation and exaltation. Our inner faculties merge to sing praises to the principle of righteousness and truth. The power of self-control, reason, and all our abilities intertwine as we express gratitude and recognition to the Creator, the life force, and the light that permeate everything. This is Chapter 20 of the Corpus Hermeticum, a deep exploration of the sacred communion between humanity and the divine, in a dialogue between Hermes and his son Tat. Now brace yourselves for Chapter 21, where Hermes Trismegistus shares a letter addressed to Asclepius, infusing his soul with well-being, an apt theme for the profound wisdom that unfolds. Hermes distills the teachings he gave to his son Tat, offering them to Asclepius in an even more esoteric manner in acknowledgement of Asclepius's maturity and familiarity with the mysteries of nature. At its core, this chapter delves into the origin and creation of the universe. Hermes asserts that everything that exists did not come to be by itself, but through a creator. This grand craftsman not only predates everything that can be created, but is also uncreated, unique, and supreme. Hermes exemplifies this with clarity, emphasizing that there is no room for an intermediary between the creator and creation. They are indivisible. To understand this is to comprehend the divine greatness. He urges Asclepius to marvel at knowing the Father, the source of all wisdom and goodness, and deduces that attributes such as power, energy, and goodness are divine aspects, forming a God who is both Father and Creator. The creatures made by this Creator are visible, but paradoxically, the Creator is invisible, a necessity for perpetual creation to continue without being seen. This deep nuance challenges human understanding. Hermes absorbs Asclepius, and us with him, into this difficult yet fascinating contemplation of the divine, where the miracle lies in the incessant capacity for creation rather than the form or substance of what is created. In this letter, Hermes expounds upon sublime philosophy, highlighting that everything boils down to two principles: the creator, the guide, and creation, the follower. This duality forms the foundation of all existence. They cannot exist without each other. Hermes encourages Asclepius to look beyond the variety of creations and recognize that the true glory of the Creator lies in the ability to create everything. He also addresses the misunderstanding of some who, despite professing piety, fail to recognize that God is the craftsman of all things. They attribute human passions and limitations to God, instead of understanding His nature as pure goodness and the power to create all that is possible. Finally, in an attempt to convey this complex concept, Hermes uses the metaphor of a farmer sowing different seeds and plants. Similarly, God sows immortality in heaven and change on earth. Life and movement permeate the universe. Thus, creation is described as having few fundamental elements catalyzed by God, who is both goodness and the first cause of all that exists. This passage enlightens us with the idea that God, the Creator, is omnipotent in His goodness, and all things, from the sublime to the mundane, are manifestations of His will and nature. Hermes encourages Asclepius, and by extension all of us, to gaze upon the vast cosmos and the depths of the soul. aware of this interconnected fabric of creation, woven by the hand of the divine. As we reflect upon this deep connection between humanity, nature, and the divine, we comprehend that praise becomes a symbol of unity, and the search for truth becomes a call to self-discovery and communion with the whole. And there you have it, my fellow book enthusiasts. We have delved into the central themes, main characters, and plot of the book, Corpus Hermeticum. This captivating journey has taken us through the divine presence within all living beings, the profound understanding of rebirth and the immortality of the soul, and the contemplation of the universe's creation. But the most important lessons lie in the connection between humanity and the divine, the sacred communion that awaits us when we look beyond the limitations of our physical bodies and embrace the divine essence within us. So, my friends, go forth and seek that harmonious connection, for within it lies the promise of fulfillment and union with the divine. Thank you for joining me on this epic adventure. Until next time, keep reading, keep learning, and keep exploring the wondrous world of literature. Welcome back, my friends, to another epic book summary. Today, we are diving deep into the mystical and metaphysical teachings of Corpus Hermeticum. Get ready to explore the remarkable relationship between the universe, the divine, and the human. In this segment, titled The Definitions of Asclepius unto King Ammon, we enter into a sermon delivered by Asclepius to King Ammon. Now, don't be deceived by its apparent simplicity, because hidden within these words are complex and profound meanings. So buckle up and get ready for a mind-blowing journey. Asclepius kicks off his sermon by invoking God, the Lord and Creator of the universe. Despite being all in one, God remains mysterious and inexplicable. There is a unity that runs through everything, and it should never be divided. Separating the all from the one would destroy the very essence of the whole. Moving on, let's contemplate the earth. It's like this treasure chest of essential elements where fire, water, and earth coexist harmoniously, flowing from a common source. Nourished by the sun, the divine artisan, the earth generates essence and matter, uniting everything around it. This divine nourishment brings immortality to celestial beings and vitality to earthly elements. Now brace yourselves, because here comes the mind-blowing part. As we reach point 6, a new concept is introduced, the notion of an essence that only the mind can comprehend. This essence originates from the sun's light, but its true nature remains a secret exclusively known by the divine. The splendor of the sun, illuminated in point 7, is like the cosmic conductor, directing the energy of life, soul, and spirit throughout the visible universe. As we journey deeper, we arrive at point 8. Here, we discover that the sun radiates everlasting life, surrounded by various choirs of demons. And guess what? Humans, despite being on Earth, are intrinsically connected to these demons. These beings navigate between the divine and human realms, influencing nature and humanity through natural causality and manifestations of divine wrath in response to human impiety. Now let's not forget the gods. They are indeed benevolent, my friends. And while we humans should worship them, the demons make sure that divine justice is served to those who dare to be impious. These demons, as highlighted in point 14, directly influence human lives, shaping our souls and psyches. But here's an intriguing twist. While most people are guided by these demons, there are a few enlightened souls, enlightened by the divine ray within their rational part. These souls are immune to the influence of demons. Talk about a power move. So, if you're feeling a little rebellious today, tune into your inner divine ray and let it guide you. In point 17, we get a glimpse of the hierarchy of the cosmos. The intelligible world depends on God, and the sensible world depends on the intelligible. And guess who shines in this structure? The sun. The sun harnesses its demiurgic power to benefit both immortals and mortals alike. And finally, in point 18, we reach the grand finale. Here, the entirety of the cosmos is described in all its holism. God is the Father of all, the Sun is the artisan, and the cosmos is the malleable instrument of operation. Every single thing in being is a part of God. So when God created the whole, He created Himself, and this act of creation is eternally continuous, just like the existence of God itself. Now, my friends, prepare to be amazed. In this captivating dialogue between Asclepius and the king, we immerse ourselves in a transcendental discussion about the nature of reality. It's a timeless topic that resonates deeply with our human quest for understanding what is tangible and what lies beyond our direct perception. Asclepius begins by posing a delicately complex question to the king. Can we consider the existence of things that don't have a physical body but are still perceived by our senses? He uses the example of a reflection in a mirror, something that seems so real but lacks tangible substance. With these words, Asclepius not only impresses the king, but also unveils the limitations of our limited perception of the world. From this point, Asclepius takes the conversation further, introducing the idea of forms that lack physical bodies but are apparent in both animate and inanimate beings. Here, he delves into a deeper layer of existence, the forms that reside in both the sensible and intelligible worlds. It's like an echo that reflects from one to the other, connecting the physical with the metaphysical. The concept of reflections between the corporeal and the incorporeal is key, my friends. It suggests that the world we perceive is merely a shadow or image of something even more real and profound. Asclepius uses this idea to suggest that even images deserve our reverence, as they contain forms originating from the intelligible world, the same substance as ideas, and the purity of concepts that haven't manifested in material reality. And with this resonant notion, Asclepius concludes his teachings, urging the king, and all of us, to reflect on the inherent sanctity of images. They are like windows to the divine, to the supremely true and eternal. Isn't that mind-blowing? Touched by Asclepius's sacred words, the king recognizes the need to attend to earthly duties and provide comfort to the guests. But the promise of resuming these sacred discussions the next day leaves us with an air of anticipation. It suggests that this exchange of ancient wisdom is as infinite as the mysteries it seeks to unravel. So, my friends, let's eagerly await the continuation of this dialogue that transcends time and eras, carrying within it esoteric truths engraved in the essence of the human quest for the ultimate meaning of existence. Wow, what an incredible journey through the pages of Corpus Hermeticum. Join me in my next video, where we'll embark on another thrilling adventure into the world of literature. Remember, my friends, knowledge is power. So hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and let's keep exploring together.